Hi, friends. I'm here because I'm in the middle of a brutal addiction. It's an addiction. I'm destroying myself and the planet with it. It's an addiction to causing destruction to the planet. And I tell myself I'm not going to do it, and then I just continue to do it over and over. Years ago, I had a psychotherapy practice, and one of the areas I specialized in was addictions. The hallmark of an addiction is that it lies. It steals and it lies. It tells the person they need just one more drink, one more compulsive binge, one more spending spree, but that later on, somehow it's going to be okay. I have the same addiction. I tell myself somebody else will figure this out. Somebody else, scientists will figure it out, or some solution will happen. And yet what I continue to do is I buy gas that was made from fracking, where they intentionally dump poisons into the ground to bring up the gas, and I use it to drive in. Plastics, tiny percent of plastics that were ever made have ever been recycled. Most of them never will be, and occasionally they're recycled once. They're here for thousands of years, and I continue to use them. They show up in the belly of whales, where you'll see these animals dead and on the beaches. And I want to name part of this as dissociation, leaving my body, disconnecting, and to feel it fully. If I were here feeling it fully, I would be crumpled up in a heap and not able to function. And so I want to try to talk to you without leaving my body, without holding my breath, but to feel fully the emotions of what's happening. And so addictions also say it's out there. Oh, you don't understand. And by the way, I'm not making light of any addictions, but you don't understand. Anybody in my situation would drink or eat or numb or spend. It's the boss, it's the girlfriend, it's the economy, and I am doing the same thing in my addiction. You don't understand. I need to use the gas. I need to use plastics. And what we really see is, we see this over and over and over again. That when a person commits, I have a mosquito buzzing in my ear. When a person commits to not doing the addiction, and to paraphrase Joseph Campbell, 1,000 helping hands come in to help support them. When somebody follows what's life affirming, 1,000 helping hands come in to support them. And so if somebody has a spending addiction and they say, well, I don't want to stop debt, I don't want to debt anymore, but they have a credit card in their hand, it seems like they must never get better. I'm not going to debt, but I have this credit card as a backup. But when they cut that credit card up and they work the steps and they get support, they say, I'm committed a day at a time to not debting, all these miracles come in. So right now, in the midst of this addiction, I'm continuing to do this destructive process. For most of the last 5 years, I've been in the Amazon, and I've been apprenticing with a shaman there. And we do these intensives with the plants. I wish that mosquito would go away. And I'll go into a hut alone by myself for a couple weeks, a couple months, and work with these plants. And what the plants have shown me unequivocally, beyond a shadow of doubt, is that on this trajectory, the planet will be dying to human life and complex life. And it's insane. And yet I'll leave here and I'll go use the gas and the plastics. I'll go use wood and metals that have been from deforested Amazon, a place I love as much as anywhere. And I continue to do it. When I first got to the Amazon, I didn't speak the indigenous language. I didn't speak Spanish. And the children in the family I was living with took me in. So I had nobody I could have a conversation with. Nobody, not one person. And we'd go to the river and I'd get some oranges and we'd play and we'd laugh. And to play in the river in the Amazon with children, they don't have any TVs. And we would just belly laugh and pretend we're animals. I love these children so dearly. And at this trajectory, beyond a shadow of doubt, they will not see macaws. I don't want to try to push that down and numb out and move into dissociation. They will not see macaws. They will not see blue morpho butterflies. there will not be hummingbirds and jaguars. One of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced is to be deep in the Amazon and see a blue morpho butterfly fly by. Time stops. Or to have a macaw fly over my head. It's pure joy. And I don't know what I would tell them, Well, I had to use the plastics and the fracked gas. When I was there was an oil spill up the river, all over the river. These people do not have money in these villages to just up and pack up and go to a new country or a new place or get a new job in another city. They live day by day. So these people are eating fish from the river that's been polluted with the oil spill. The family I lived with, 3 of the children died while I was there. The reports are that I want to stay in my body. It's so easy to dissociate and numb out, just pretend like it's not happening. The reports from Brazil would say that the mercury levels are 20 times higher than accepted. And the family I live with would eat fish a lot of times twice a day. Fish, plantains, and white rice. That's the staple of the diet. I'm not saying that I know the mercury caused the deaths, but it didn't help. And it comes from logging and mining. There's no one out there doing this. The plants have showed me this over and over. I want to get angry at someone, and yet it's me who's doing it. I'm the one who buys the wood that's been cut from the Amazon. I'm the one who have the metals in my electronics and the other things. I want to pretend it's someone else, but it's me. The collective me, the I, the consumer in the US. I'm at the heart of what's happening, and I want to get angry at someone else. So if we want to follow this addictive model, instead of saying there's something out there that's making me buy the plastics and gas, it's the system. What are you going to do? Everybody else is doing it. Just to commit a day at a time to not destroying the planet. And so knowing fully well that the best way to work through an addiction is to work the 12 steps. Right now, there's no 12-step program that's going to help people not destroy the planet, not have destruction of the planet a day at a time. So I've been working the steps with a couple friends, and we're going through them all. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go over part of my 5th step, which is where I look at the root causes and conditions. Why is it I continue to destroy what I love most? I call it an addiction to dissociation and complex supply chains. I know it's happening, but I pretend like it doesn't. And, oh, well, what are you going to do? And you got to buy it somewhere. And just to cut through all that BS and take full ownership and just admit I'm powerless over this and I would like help and a way out. But so I'm going to read through the steps real briefly as we've already worked them, as I've worked them with friends. And then I'm going to read part of the heart of my 5th step, the exact nature of my wrongs, what it is that's going on with me that I'm still continuing to live out this addiction. Even when I say that what I love most, some of the things I love most, the Amazon and to play with the children and to have them be healthy and safe. Okay, so here is the beginning of this is we admitted the first step. These are modified from the basic steps from Alcoholics Anonymous. We admitted we were powerless over causing incredible destruction to the planet and that our lives had become unmanageable. Beyond a shadow of doubt, I know that's me. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. I've heard somebody say the great not I. So in addictions, it's left to my own devices, I seem to be destroying myself. I've seen other people get better in community when they surrender to something greater, when they ask infinite intelligence in. And I trust that can happen here as well. The 3rd step, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over the care of infinite intelligence, as we understood infinite intelligence. So the 4th step is made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And this step 5 is admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And again, God, whatever that means, to me it's that there's something greater, that the earth, that the animals, that infinite intelligence, that there's this creative essence in and through everything, and that I'm not at the center of the universe. When I'm at the center of the universe, I'm causing great harm to the earth. So I'm admitting this to you. I'm admitting this to the higher power. And so I'm going to start reading my 5th step now. I'm going to breathe. It's so messed up to be in this funhouse mirrors of insanity. The plants show me again my part and this destruction, and I just don't know how to stop. So here's my 5th step. A big part of the addiction is resentments, and again, thinking there's something out there, and taking full responsibility. So here's one of the resentments. I'm resentful at Donald Trump, many politicians, big business, big agriculture, the larger system, etc. The reason for this resentment: the earth is being destroyed. They're tearing apart ecology laws, stealing land from national parks and other places. There's tax cuts for the wealthy. They're against healthy climate practices, disregard science. They steal elections with ties with Russia. They swing deals, manipulate the system. They do fracking, which poisons groundwater. The fracking is insane. There's people getting cancer from this. If a person had to live where it was fracked, they could not drink the water or use the water to grow food. And I buy the gas from that. Okay, so anyway, it's just crazy. If I came from another planet, a planet with love and light, where people love and respected the earth, and I was on this planet where I found out 50% of the species are dead, depending on how we define species. But either way, it's horrible. 20% of the Amazon is gone. Schools going extinct in the ocean is going to be gutted in 50 years. If we came from another planet and saw this, it would just... we would just drop to our knees. I would drop to my knees and say, 50% of the species. You've killed 50% of the species. Like, it's horrifying. And I still stay in this addiction. So I went through the resentment, and I went through what's going on with that, and now I move to my part. So this is the core of where healing takes place. If it's something out there, I'm dead in the water. Might as well write it off. I'm just done. If I can move to my part, there's room for healing and infinite intelligence to come in. So my part. I voted for Reagan in college. I bought into the dog-eat-dog mentality, work hard and get to the top. Like all my friends, we were going to get rich and we were going to be successful. And just this whole psychosis of, more. So I benefit from things I like about the above system. Things like exploitation of other countries. I benefit from things I dislike about the above system. Things like exploitation of other countries, underpaying people, manipulating, owning, quote, banana republics. Banana republic, that means that we own the country, the companies own the country, so I can get cheaper pineapples and bananas. We have a store called Banana Republic. It's supposed to be funny. It's horrifying. People can work as slaves so I can get cheaper pineapple. Okay, I need to breathe. And I buy the pineapple. I mean, it's just insane. Okay, so, they're tearing apart the oceans with trawlers that just gut the oceans. I eat fish from trawlers, which gut the oceans. I ate and I still eat cod, and the cod fishery has collapsed. The cod fishery is collapsed, and I'm still buying cod, and that's insane. Okay. So, there's a depleting of topsoil from horrible big business farm practices for food I bought and ate. I used plastics. I still use plastics. Here's something we know won't biodegrade. I'm still using them. I use gas from fracking. I use metals mined from the places like the Amazon. I regularly bought pineapples in stores, pineapples that were from an island in the Pacific. Where they did brutal things to the soil. So I'm on this island in the Pacific that I love as much as anything. And it brings me such joy. It just fills me with joy. I could just sit on that island for lifetimes filled with joy. And people tell me stories about just the toxins that they dumped on the soil that can no longer, healthy people can no longer eat food from there because they've destroyed it. They just experimented with everything toxic you can find. They would shock the pineapples at the end of their lives by throwing like poison on them, which makes them more fruit. They put toxic weed mats over the soil and didn't care less. And then would just churn the toxic weed mats up with the tractors. Could not care less. So much of the land can't be used for people who want to eat food without poison. And I bought the pineapple. And I see it as a dissociation. It's a dissociation. It's an addiction to dissociation in complex supply chains. How is it that I'm participating in destroying what means most to me on this earth? And I want out. I just want out. There's this line in the 12 steps that'll say, hopefully the addict gets this window into what's happening. It's just like, oh my God, I'm destroying myself and causing incredible harm to those around me. Just, oh my God, there's no insanity out there. This is me doing this. They stand ready to do anything which will lift the merciless obsession, which will lift the addiction. And I'm there, man. I just want out. I just don't know how to get there. So I'll go into some more of the fifth step. So I bought the pineapples. Big agriculture is doing things like this all over the world. I just experienced it firsthand that was right where I lived, where it was happening, a place I loved. But it's happening everywhere, and I know it's happening. So how is it I've contributed to these things? Okay, things like polyester clothes. Polyester is like plastic. It's not going to biodegrade. It's not good for the environment. It's made with toxic chemicals, a lot of it. And I buy it. I try not to, but listen to the word try. What does that mean, try not to? Try not to means I buy it. And I'm not being hard on myself. It's just getting real with what's going on. So my clothes and electronics and many other things come from sweatshop labor where people aren't paid fairly. My food is grown from people not paid fairly, perhaps brutally unfairly. We can remove the perhaps. We know it's brutal. We can read about it. These families do not have money to have healthy education for their children, to have health care and dental care, to have vacations. And I pretend like it's not happening. Look at this clothes. Where do these clothes come from? Where did my lunch come from? It's insane. If it was my brother who was not making money to buy food and have shelter, I'd stop what I'm doing to go help them, or my sister. And I pretend like these people are somehow, well, what are you going to do? It's part of the system. It's a lie. It's a lie, and I want out. And I'm ready to get out. And I'm ready to do whatever it takes to get out of this insanity. So sweatshop labor, people used like indentured servants, like slave labor, so I can have inexpensive pineapple. Another part of my fifth step, I live in the United States. I've received a lot of benefits from being in this country, a country that exploits other countries, whether I say I've liked it or not. Noam Chomsky says the U.S. has commonly used subversion to overthrow foreign countries, including foreign parliamentary regimes, resorted to violence to overthrow countries. We know this is true. We know this is true. An island in the Pacific, we say, oh, we own it. People who are natives there are sleeping in tents because they don't have a place to live. And they say the U.S. stole the land. What's true? I don't know. I err on the side of believing them. And I'm painting in broad strokes here, but I'm looking at what the problems are, and we know there's many. So part of my fifth step, a family member in my past made money in business, in part busting unions and doing unethical things. A parent of mine benefited from that, had a good education from that. I had a good education and received benefits from them having a good education. I grew up with, I had cars. If I wanted to use them, my own car, I used a convertible, I had spending money. The family had a business. when the employees worked very hard and they used toxic cleaners. Somebody who worked for the family later on was a manager. She was more like an aunt. I later on met her and she had kidney cancer, probably from the toxic chemicals. And I'm driving around in a convertible with a bunch of spending money thinking it's wonderful. It's insane. And I want out. And we say that's a good thing in the US. Oh, you own this or you own the company. Or, well, it's legal. And what are you going to do? It's a dog-eat-dog system. These are some of the lies that have perpetuated some of the psychosis. Just this, oh, it's going to be okay, or this is just how it is. I move right into the truth, just, okay. So, and I'm going to start to bring it down now and coming to the end, but I need to say this too. So, you see somewhere between 1 and 3 million Vietnamese. Died in the Vietnam War. They didn't die. They were killed by US soldiers. If I sat here and I could feel the pain of one mother who will never see their son again, brothers and sisters who will never meet, children whose father or mother didn't come home, or both, 1 to 3 million people, human beings. There's no way that collective grief could be felt. And we say, oh, the US lost the Vietnam War. What does that mean? We never once talk about the courage and resiliency of the Vietnam people who could fight off a country 5 times larger than itself, with an economy, 200% larger, probably more than that. So just these distortions and this insanity, and how to get to the root of these distortions and insanity. Split through it. The addiction feeds on lies, rationalization, and denial. The healing comes from being in the light, speaking the truth, being in community, and asking something greater. The earth, infinite intelligence, please, a day at a time, help me not be in the insanity. So, okay, so this is a lot of it. So starting to wind down. Again, this idea that this is not happening out there. This is not something I have to do. There's no one making me do this. There's no one out there causing this destruction. Take full ownership of it. Okay, so what I'm going to briefly do is going to go into nonviolent communication, which is a little bit different, but it's in the similar themes. But so what are the needs? And NVC says if we stay with what's alive in us, if we stay with what the need is, we can always have that need met. We can move into strategies that are abhorrent. So the need was for subsistence, for healthy food, for healthy housing, for community, to be connected, to feel loved, to feel part of. And these were, again, false needs that moved into addiction of power, status, wealth, the delusion of safety, that I'm somehow going to be safe if I am depleting the earth or have power or exploiting another human being, or I'm part of a family system that does that, or part of a country that does that. It doesn't matter how dissociated or in denial I am. If I'm part of that system, I'm destroying myself because I'm not separate from all of this. I'm a part of all this. First thing the plants show me, that I am in and of the jungle. That I'm a part of this jungle, part of this earth. I can't pretend like I'm going to cause destruction over here and yet somehow I'm going to be okay. But so these were false needs. It didn't work. Convertibles and the spending money and the people dying of cancer, and just, enough. So now what are the true needs? And this is so key. Again, the true needs are to be connected with myself. When I'm connected with the earth, it feels good. It feels life-affirming. I feel alive. I feel vital. I feel clear. I went into this process in the Amazon with a shaman and just cleared out all this yuck and all the baggage. And I spend so much time now just sitting with the earth. And I feel such joy, just such joy and such love being with the earth. Watching the blue herons, I'm at a place with incredible nature. Watching the blue herons and the cardinals, there's an alligator that lives down the way. The birds fly overhead, it brings me such joy. So that's true connection, that's true relationship, that's being in integrity. Nothing feels as good as being in integrity to the best of my ability. And that's where I can feel this place of sickness now that I don't want to live with anymore. Okay, so those are the true needs: right relationship, community, integrity, joy, love, service, light, true safety, true security. Okay. So I basically stand before you naked, that I don't know the way out. I know a day at a time I don't want to cause tremendous destruction of the planet. The first word of the 12 steps, or the first step, is we. We admitted we're powerless. So I stand here saying, I admit I'm powerless, and I'm open to solutions for how to get out of this, for how to live in integrity and how to live in the light. How to remember that I'm a child of this earth, and that I'm of the earth. Thank you for hearing this. Namaste. Here's to healing for all of us.